In the Arctic Circle, in the north of Russia, there are roads which only exist for a few weeks each year. Conditions in the ice are extreme. If you take the winter road, you do so at your own peril. In Siberia, many roads are made not of tarmac, but of ice and snow. The winter road linking Salekhard and Nadym is only passable from December to April. When spring arrives on the border between taiga and tundra, temperatures rise from -50 to -20 degrees Celsius. It's the beginning of the end for the road of ice. Reindeer knows this road like no other. He is accompanying a heavy haulage back to Salekhard, his hometown. In spring, water flows across the frozen ground, turning the road into an icy piste. The two drivers need to cross a dangerous section.
The top is dangerous. We could slide down. Let's stay at the bottom. Keep to the bottom. Drive slowly in first gear.
Is this part dangerous?
No, you just have to be careful. Stay on this track over there and just keep going, on and on. Many people try to take the upper part of the road and slide down. Sometimes they even overturn and fall to the side. It's a really tricky part. You have to be very precise when driving.
Leonid Podolka specializes in heavy haulage driving. He has to maneuver the heavily laden lorry across the ice. The lorry almost makes it up the little rise, but the last bit of the slope is too steep and too slippery. It's for moments like this that Reindeer is with him.
We need to make the rope longer, because I'm on a slope, and so is he. I need to get further up the hill.
The articulated lorry only makes it across the hill with the help of the second vehicle, as long as the makeshift extension of the tow rope holds.
We need to get the wheels off the ice, and then you try going in second gear.
The drive from Salekhard to Nadym and back takes 5 days, if the weather complies. It's only during the winter months that the men can transport urgently needed goods between the towns. Right now, they need a street roller in Salekhard. The drivers reach the city in the evening. Founded as a Cossack fortress, Salekhard today lives off the vast gas fields of this region. The gas reserves are among the biggest in the world and have made the town an affluent community. Despite the extreme temperatures, some 40,000 people live here. On the outskirts of the town, the company premises of Yamalov Todor, the region's road-building contractor, can be found. Yamalov Todor is responsible for building and maintaining the region's few roads. company employs Leonid Padalka and Yuri Zirbu as drivers. They are glad it has got a little colder. At minus 30 degrees, their work becomes easier. Before the temperatures rise again and the road sinks into the mud, they have to drive one last heavy haulage across. They urgently need an asphalt paver at the other end of the winter road in Nadym. Before they can set off, the 15-ton machine needs to be loaded onto the trailer.
If the track widths are not the same, the machine can topple over. It's so heavy, it's impossible to load it back up.
In order to make sure the load doesn't slide off en route, the men painstakingly secure it on the trailer. Good preparation is the very least they can do to get across the ice road. Yuri Zirbu loves the north, but he also knows its dangers.
You can freeze to death very quickly. You won't even feel it. You look for an escape. You clasp at every straw to get out and reach your destination, to solve your problem. But you're very much afraid.
The convoy will be traveling on this road without any contact with the outside world for several days. There is no mobile phone reception. If you want to take the winter road, you have to know about the dangers. Everyone registers at the entrance. The convoy consists of 4 vehicles. The lorry with its heavy load is followed by a bulldozer, which is supposed to clear the way in case of an emergency. Then there's a lorry with building materials. At the back is Yuri Zirbu, securing the convoy. Salekhard is situated in the autonomous Yarmalo-Nenets region, right on the Ob River in the Arctic Circle. The winter road to Nadym is some 300 kilometers long and leads through marshland and across several rivers. It's the only road which connects Salekhard with the outside world. At the other end of the road in Nadym, Kolya Prokhorov and Yegor Stefanenko want to risk the drive across the winter road. The two share an unusual passion. They love driving cross-country, away from regular roads. For the summer, they are planning an off-road trip across Russia. They want to use the winter road to test themselves and their cars in the most extreme conditions.
They told us not to let any more lorries pass. We'll wait until tonight. The boss wanted to call back then. He said that maybe we won't let any more lorries pass from now on.
How's the road?
Is it slippery? Yes.
Will we get through with the jeep?
Yes, you will. Why won't you let any more lorries pass? It's warm, it's thawing.
How long for?
Until 6 p.m.
All right, thanks.
The two off-road drivers are from Nadym and have never made it all the way to the neighboring town of Salekhard. Now, at the end of the winter, they have picked the most unpleasant time for their trip. There is neither accommodation nor any restaurants along these 300 kilometers. They have to look after themselves.
It started to thaw, the snow's getting heavier.
We'll hope for the best. I heard the weather forecast. They forecast temperatures above 0. Best thing would be to drive at night. It'll probably be colder then. During the day, it'll be pretty wet.
We've thought it through. We're well prepared. We double-check everything several times before we embark on a tour like this. It's the only way. We value our life and our health very much.
the road leads across a river. In just a few weeks' time, barges will be traveling here instead of cars. But for now, the ice holds. Weather-beaten pylons and deformed rail tracks remind us of Stalin's superpower fantasies, which were thwarted by the eternal cold of northern Siberia. After World War II, the dictator wanted to build a railway line along the Arctic Circle. The secret project was called Stalin's Railway, or the Route of Death. More than 100,000 Gulag prisoners were exposed to the cold with no protection. Extreme driver Yegor Stefanenko sees the camps for the first time. Stalin's railway was never in operation. 2 weeks after Stalin's death, work stopped. At the other end of the winter road, Yuri Zibu has veered off the right path. Even experienced drivers have a hard time recognizing where the road ends and deep snow begins. In the course of the day, it becomes warmer again.
There is no traction between snow and wheels. The snow is like soap, the wheels just spin.
Because of the angle, it would take him hours to get out of this situation by himself. The edge of hard-pressed snow makes it hard to get the wheels back on solid ground.
You need to understand that the temperatures of the air, the ground and the snow are all different, and that it's all interconnected. Only then you can come to a conclusion and make a decision on which way to take best.
Right now, he needs less air in his tires. Yuri's path takes him back into deep snow. He wants to make the road wider. With his Russian Ural truck, which is specially designed for heavy territory, he can change the air pressure in the tires while he's driving.
With less air, the tires are like the paws of a bear. When a bear steps on branches, you'd think they break, but they don't. They don't even make a sound. This also applies to the tires of the Ural. Now the vehicle has created the necessary space for itself and feels like a fish in water. You just need to keep calm and be patient. Don't get hectic.
Every year in November, Yuri forges the road into the deep snow, centimetre by centimetre, day by day, until he has made a fresh track across the 300 kilometers from Salekhard to Nadym. Ivan and Grigory Ataman are on their way home. They were selling reindeer meat on the market in Salekhard and bought some groceries. The two brothers are tundra nomads and members of the Nenyets people. Ivan and Grigory live in a small settlement some 130 kilometers outside of Salekhard, right in the middle of the tundra. They need a snowmobile or a sledge to get to their tents. Snowmobiles are fast but tiring. After 40 kilometers, the nomads stop for a tea break. This is not just so they can recover. The Nenyets stop in sacred places. To Grigory Ataman and his people, a road is not just a road.
We always stop over there and make an offering. Sometimes we also throw coins in passing too. You mustn't destroy any branches around here.
There are no petrol stations in the tundra. Therefore, the Nenyets brothers always take a barrel of petrol with them. They want to reach their little settlement before nightfall. The last 30 kilometers will lead them through deep snow.
Without this road, it took us much longer to get to the town. Sometimes as long as 2 or 3 days. Back in those days, when there was no road, our sledges would get stuck in hilly territory. Today, it's the road of life for us.
Yuri Zirbu and his convoy colleagues make sure the road will remain passable. On each trip, they chain pipes, which have been welded together, to their lorries. These makeshift 4-ton rollers level and compact the snow which would otherwise break up, blow away, and become impassable within a few days.
To make a good road, you need to build it above the tundra. We want the winter road to be similar to a normal road. Normal roads have a firm base. Here we have a base of snow. We keep driving across new snow, so it increases in height. Once the road is above the level of the tundra, you needn't worry about blizzards and wind anymore.
The best time for driving on a winter road is at night time. With their headlights, the drivers can make out bumps sooner than in the diffuse daylight. The convoy is making good progress. But then Yuri and his colleagues encounter a lorry which has had an accident. The driver has been stuck since lunchtime. No one has been able to help him. His attempts to free himself have only dug him deeper into the snow.
I miscalculated and veered off the road. There was a blizzard and I couldn't see anything. Then I overturned and slid off the road.
Yuri wants to pull the lorry out with a rope. The wheel loader also pushes it from behind. The lorry is not moving at all.
Try to start the engine. It's complicated. If we could start it, the power of the engine would help us. Right now, it's like a dead weight. Without the engine running, it's practically immovable.
Due to the cold temperatures, the vehicles are never switched off on the winter road, not even on longer breaks. The drivers know once the engine cools off, there is nothing they can do without outside help.
Everyone out of the way.
The rescue mission has delayed the convoy considerably. On the winter road, punctuality is a luxury.
Nowadays, it's each to their own. The North doesn't forgive these mistakes. On your own, you won't get far in the tundra in this kind of frost. I don't know how strong a man has to be here to get by without help. Sooner or later, everyone needs the help of a friend or a colleague.
10 kilometers further on, there's another accident. Yuri is not surprised. The black ice here has been the downfall of many a driver. This lorry has been stuck for 3 days now. Several attempts to help him have failed. The heavy load has pulled the lorry deeper and deeper down the slope.
Try second gear.
Yuri quickly realizes that they can't help him either, but the lorry blocks their way.
He needs to stay where he is, damn it. We'll carefully go past him so we won't squash him if we slide.
We've cleared it all.
We give up. Uncouple.
The convoy carefully drives past the unfortunate vehicle. After a few meters, the wheel loader starts to slide.
I told him, you need to drive at the very bottom, so you won't slide. And he replies, very well, only to proceed to drive a different route.
The convoy has been on the road for 14 hours. Despite their exhaustion, the drivers make use of the favorable nighttime conditions. They continue to find their way through the cold and snow until dawn. Very few creatures can survive the hostile environment of the Arctic Circle. Extreme differences in temperature, blizzards, permafrost soil. The Nenyets people have come to terms with the adversities of nature. The brothers Ivan and Grigory Ataman reached their little settlement of 3 tents on the previous evening. Together they take a breakfast of tea and raw frozen reindeer meat. Some 40,000 Nenyets live in the region of Yamalo Nenyets, named after them. In their language, Nense means man. Some of them have preserved the old culture. They live as nomads of the tundra. With their tents, they move from place to place. The Nenyets practice strict division of labor. The women are responsible for the tent, the food, and the children. The men take care of the reindeer and the hunting. Reindeer are the Nenyets' treasure. Many nomad families have thousands of the animals at their disposal. Tents and clothing are made from reindeer hides. Nothing else keeps you as warm. The dogs are restless. They can feel that they will be hunting today. Spring is coming, and soon Grigory, Ivan and their friend will start heading for the summer meadows up north with their herds. This means the herd, which has been living independently of its owners, needs to be rounded up again. Grigory is the owner of 3,000 reindeer. They are able to withstand colder temperatures than any other farm animal. First, the men want to catch some individual animals. The animals can smell trouble. With their snowmobiles, Grigory and his brother round up the animals and herd them towards the others, who are waiting with their lassos. They try to catch the male lead animals. Reindeer hooves are very broad and they can move fast in deep snow. As soon as they've caught the first reindeer, they tether them to the wooden sleighs. They need to get used to their task as working animals again. The rest of the herd follows them voluntarily.
Soon it will be impossible to drive around on the snowmobiles. Then we won't be able to go into town. Once it thaws, everything gets waterlogged. The road becomes impassable. Now we take those reindeer to the herd. Then we catch the younger ones and train them up too.
The first sleigh is ready to go. Soon the Nenyets will ride hundreds of kilometers up north on them, always following the cold into the vast tundra. The drivers use the roof of Yuri's Ural as a refrigerator. The convoy has driven until the morning. Before they can carry on, they need to put a good meal on the table. The delicacy of the north is called muksum, a fish whose home is the Ob River. Yuri cuts up the raw fish, as Nenyet's tradition dictates, into small strips.
It's freshly frozen. The fish is for internal use, with salt and pepper. Vodka is desirable too. Without vodka, it's not perfect, but you can eat it anyway.
The night was cold. The wheel valves are frozen.
We let the air out of the tyres so the car can cope better with the winter road, so it won't get damaged. If there's less air in the tyres, it's easier to drive, and you've got a better grip between the snow and wheels.
Halfway between Nadym and Salekhard, there is a station. Yuri and the others want to reach this station today. Many drivers make use of the last days when the road is still passable. Soon, it will be closed. For the next 8 months, transports will have to take place by plane or ship. The road disappears, as it were. The only reminders are the wrecks of the unlucky lorries. An oncoming driver tells Yuri about conditions on the rest of the way.
They say the road to Nadym is bad. Will our convoy make it?
It will probably get through, though. If not, use the ropes. You can get through on the tracks. Have you been getting through okay?
Yeah. The road is like soap. It's turned warm.
I'll string up and carry on now.
Have a good trip.
In the north of Siberia, the permafrost soil is hundreds of meters deep. On top, there are vast swamplands which the winter road leads through. Parts of them thaw when temperatures reach 15 degrees below zero. In some areas, even experienced drivers like Yuri find it hard to make out whether the road is still passable at all.
It's still okay at the moment. Sometimes the water comes up to my feet in the cabin. In some places, the water is up to 1.5 meters deep. The difficult bit is that you don't know what's underneath. In the spring, there's water coming from above and from below, so the ice is no longer solid, but it breaks. It can cave in any time, really, any time.
The convoy has reached the little station halfway between Salekhard and Nadym. Many people take a brief break there before they tackle the second part of their trip. A reserve fund of petrol helps those drivers who underestimated the high petrol consumption on the winter road. Yuri's Ural uses more than 50 litres per 100 kilometres. Vasily Volkov guards the station and the petrol. He's a hermit of the winter road. For 8 months each year, he's completely alone. For the other 4 months, when the winter road is in use, his hut is a popular meeting place for truckers. One of the drivers tells of his accident just short of the station. This morning, his lorry overturned. He was carrying a load of petrol. Fellow drivers freed him from the broken vehicle and brought him here.
My first thought was, damn, this is it. I thought I was dead. But this was the end. Then I wondered, is this what heaven looks like? Everything was upside down. You see nothing. There's snow everywhere. Are you still alive or not? You just don't know. No one knows.
In the old days, they forced us to drive. Now we do it of our own free will.
Yes, now we do it of our own free will.
Temperatures rise to 5 degrees below zero. Blizzards are increasingly likely. The wind picks up. Within a few hours, the road is covered in loose snow. The road markings on either side disappear. Off-road drivers Kolya and Yegor find it more and more difficult to drive their cars across the blown-away road. The front axle of Kolya's vehicle has hit deep snow. He won't be able to get out again by himself. Yegor has to help him.
The wind has become very strong. It blows snow onto the road, so we can expect more snowdrifts. We'll have to keep pulling the other one out a few more times.
The jolt at the start pulls off part of the rope holder, but at least Kolya's car has come unstuck.
I drove quite a deep track into here.
It's only 30 meters to the other side of the snowbank. They could make it if they drive faster. The men start wondering if they will make it back home this winter. If they have to leave their vehicles behind, they'll never see them again. The convoy drivers also find it hard to keep control over what's going on. The snow is wet and slippery. The lorry carrying the asphalt machine won't make it up the hills on its own. When attempting to tow it, the wheel loader also starts to slide. Once they've dug it out, they start a second attempt at getting the articulated lorry across the hill. They need to cross several hills in a row. Again, the wheels start spinning after a few minutes. 35 tons rotating on the spot.
We need more speed. If we go faster, we can pull the lorry up the hill. The rope needs to remain at full stretch.
If it stops at the bottom of the hill, you can't pull it up. It's stuck. You can only do it together.
I'll use fourth gear. It'll be faster that way.
If I go in second gear, I'll get stuck. You're simply too slow.
There are several hundredweights of bottom ash in the lorry. It's a survival aid for winter road drivers. Bucket by bucket, the drivers put down a trail in the snow so that the wheels can grip at the next attempt. The team carefully rolls back to the bottom of the hill. Then, both drivers will go at full speed simultaneously. Again, the lorry grinds to a halt. But right at that moment, the bulldozer's wheels catch hold in the snow. In the Nenjet settlement, the problems on the winter road go unnoticed. The tundra nomads have been living in the Arctic for thousands of years. Like every year, they quietly prepare for spring. Some of the sleighs need mending. Once every 2 weeks, Ivan and Grigory slaughter a reindeer for their own use. They need all hands on deck for that. They have to be quick, or the meat will freeze under the knife and the men won't be able to skin the animal. Reindeer meat, reindeer blood and fat are basic foodstuffs, as well as a source of income. Ivan and Grigory take the snowmobiles into town for the last time this year. There, they sell reindeer meat and frozen fish. They use the proceeds to buy supplies for the coming months.
There's another one who got stuck. The poor guy slid.
Shall we try it from the top?
Off-roaders Kolya and Yegor are standing in front of a slope which is completely frozen over. Some lorries have slid off and blocked the way.
May I offer you my hand, sir? This hill is particularly treacherous if you leave the track.
Do you want to drive along here?
Yes.
In the last days, when the winter road is still open, no vehicle makes it through without problems. The icy piste becomes a slide for man and machine. Kolya and Yegor don't want to wait several days for the road to become free again. They look for an alternative route around the blocked area.
Do you see how much water there is? We could sink here. I can't imagine how we would get around that bit with the 2 trees over there. No idea.
To the right?
To the right.
Centimetre by centimetre, Yegor advances on the thin ice. Kolya secures the car on the side.
Oh, fuck!
At that moment, an oncoming vehicle blocks their way.
What now? Why do you drive along here without checking the area first?
The way in front is blocked, and they can't go back either. There are very few options left to avoid having to leave the car behind until next year. The men want to try using a cable winch and ease the car down the slope sideways.
We've managed the tricky icy bit. I'm happy. I don't want to sleep anymore. I'm not hungry or thirsty anymore. At last, we can keep going.
For the near future, a modern railway is planned between Salekhard and Nadym along the old Stalin railway. Will there ever be a paved road that makes travelling between the two towns easier? No one knows. Yuri and his colleagues have made it. The convoy reaches the control station. From there, it's just a few more kilometers into town.
You're from here, right? You have one car?
3.
Good luck.
Yuri can't imagine a life without that road and the snow.
This road is like a treat for me. The winter road will always remain the winter road. If you work here with good people, you won't ever feel fatigued. Of course, you'll get tired, but you're always in a good mood. It's fun. You do a job which you sometimes doubted you can succeed at. You wonder how you've achieved this much, but it's a fact. We've made it without much ado.